So it was a time when you'd come on a Sunday and you'd have some of the stalwarts that would be here on the various parts, speaking their truth and their opinions about bits and pieces. And then YouTube started to take over, and you could start to see this change when egos and channels started to take over, and the narrative was changing. And I said, as it progressed for about a year, and I think I said at the first meeting that I arranged about the first time in history that we got a representation of all speakers from all faiths and ideals with the Royal Parks, myself as a police. We had meetings quarterly over at the old police house, and we made history there because we started to see these changes in our freedom of speech. We're starting to get more violent, driven by largely social media. And I said, whether you agree with me or not, social media is the cancer of freedom of speech. It robs you of responsibility. Now the reason why I say that is, if you're going to put something out on social media, do you have the guts to come down who you are, to stand on a soapbox and say that to the public?
That's true. That's true.
Do you? Yeah. So if you can't do that, whatever you put out there, which may be legitimate, it's not getting out to the public. And Speaker's Corner is about listening. It should also be listeners' corner, debating corner, and we've lost that.
Yeah.
We have lost the originals of why this was running. We need the original characters back. Derek, wonderful what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Derek.
I see 3.
How we worked with Derek, we got the sit-down circle because it drives
Yeah,
a
well
lot
done,
of
Derek.
narrative.
Well done,
It causes proper debate.
I see 3.
Brilliant.
I see 3.
Yeah?
Well done, mate.
And this is what we've done as a collaborative. We've got the signs up about the history. And then I've got the Royal Parks to make up some proper Speaker's Corner boxes.
Oh, good.
To drive.
It's important because the so-called terrorist
Supposed to
threat,
turn up today, but he couldn't.
years ago,
Keep going, Steve.
when I first came here in '92, there were boxes everywhere.
Yeah.
Because of the so-called terrorist threat, the rubbish police got rid of them. Not you.
Oh, they're coming for you, Steve. Watch out.
Gonna take him away
One likes a traitor.
for the haircut.
Here they are. Speak of the devil.
Have Jesus in your life.
we had the boxes put out on the side, stand up for something with a drive to try and get new people to come to the corner. I worked with Westminster Council. We went to local universities and colleges to try and get a new breed of speakers coming in here. But unfortunately, it was very difficult because what they see on social media is all the fighting and all the hate, and it scares people off. And it became a nightmare to contain. But thankfully, during my time, we worked together. We managed to identify the troublemakers, and we dealt with them. And we reduced crime and incident by 85%
Go on, Steve.
during that time.
Well done.
And that's what we've done.
Yep.
And that's what we've done.
What happened?
Yeah.
You left.
But sadly, we're now living in a world where, the way I can describe it is we live in a stadium. Imagine Wembley Stadium. Everybody's shouting and screaming their truths of what their opinion is. No one's listening anymore. And this is where we have got a mess. Now, is Speaker's Corner going to be here in 150 years' time? The place will, this spot, this land, will the people still be coming here? That's down to the people. Unless we start getting people coming down here, the new generation, get on their soapboxes to actually start talking about other subjects than religion, which has its place.
The religion is always the problem, Mr. Speaker.
Oh.
It is always the problem.
I'll get up on the ladder soon. You can...
Tea break, everyone.
Religion and power has been since year dot, because that's what humankind does.
Yeah.
Almost as if
You
there's a God.
can't change that. But if we're going to celebrate this, we've got to, this is imperative, we've got to get the new speakers down here.
Otherwise, it's going to get worse.
Can it?
As Bob used to say. As Bob used to say.
He was right.
He was right. Of course, he was right.
Yeah? So we need more people coming down with a billboard saying this, or it could only get better, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I used to think to him. Different
Yeah.
generation.
What else was I going to say? I'm waffling now.
No, don't worry about it.
Extinction
Poli-
Rebellion.
right, policing Speaker's Corner itself,
That's it.
extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you, and it actually made me quite ill. I mean, I did actually get some serious anxiety from it because it's coming on a Monday, and if you saw the grief and the shite I had to wade through, and you think, my God, these are adults I'm dealing with here. 99% of it I just writ off. And as we know with the Redmond Bates ruling is, if you don't like it,
Go home.
don't be here. But policing is difficult.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've tried doing my time here to do training packages about the history, to introduce people, officers to work with the crowd. Simon, who's taken over me, is doing a sterling job, but his hands are tied. It's difficult to get police officers to come and get out their cars to actually talk to people and not go get that camera out my face. You know? But policing reflects our society. It's easy to go and poo-poo the police. No, the police are you. They're everybody. This generation coming through is the same generation that's been brainwashed again by social media, driven by that stadium of hate. So that's difficult. And then we get a situation that unfortunately we've seen yesterday with Hattoon. I mean, I don't know the full details. I question where was the Royal Parks Police here to work with the serials that are on duty here for the concerts, to give a bit of knowledge on how Speaker's Corner works. I question that. I don't know. Why wasn't the crowd dealt with in a different way? Questions need to be asked. Why was Hattoon arrested in the first place? I don't know these facts yet, but we need to question this, and we've got to challenge it, because if we don't, it becomes a narrative again.
It becomes the norm.
It becomes the norm. So, I think that's all I really need to say, really. I'm going to say quickly my piece now. Mine's a bit on the soapbox. Those that you know, I worked kind of closely with XR because I'm a druid and I work. My passion is the protection of the environment. We do have a serious problem. The naysayers saying it's all a climate conspiracy and rubbish. This. The issue that we got, the narrative is the wrong heading. It's the environmental emergency. We are destroying our ecosystems.
Well, that's fair enough.
Capitalism is.
That's fair.
That's
Well, I mean, destroying the
that is
ecosystem is
the
fair enough,
problem.
that's fact.
If you cut down rainforests, you plough up fields, and you just keep, don't do copper crop circle rotations.
Feudal society.
The poisons go into the waters and the rivers. Did you know that all our rivers are now classed you cannot swim in them because of the poisons in them?
Oh dear.
We have lost 80% of our amphibians because of all the poisons we're putting into our rivers. Even now there's a great big iceberg of wet wipes in the Thames which people are putting down there. And all that microplastics is getting into our water system, which is inside you.
Yep, yep,
Yeah? That's inside you.
yep.
Yeah? And all the chemicals in our foods and the plastics and everything. You wonder why cancer is increasing? Because you're consuming it.
By design.
Absolutely. And it's the capitalist companies profiting from it.
And when I say to people,
climate change
are you
is causing
patriots?
cancer.
Who's patriots? Who's a
You saying
patriot
climate
here?
change is
Yes.
causing cancer?
Who's a patriot here?
Yeah, I
What are
like
you a
being-
patriot for?
Yeah, I'm a patriot for.
What's
We'll have a talk about this afterwards. Let's let him speak. Thank you, though. We'll definitely talk
You
afterwards.
question some of these so-called patriots, yeah? But our land, our green land and our forests,
Green and pleasant.
and our waters and our rivers and our air,
Yeah.
75% of our bird life now is on the red list. You can go out and ask anybody in the high street here. Can anybody here name 10 garden birds?
Sparrow,
Blue tit, sparrows.
blue tit, robin,
Great tit.
blue tit,
Parrots.
everybody's tit,
That's what I call them.
Big tit.
cuckoo.
That's a spotted tit.
They're going on. We've got the lowest diversity of wildlife anywhere in the whole of northern.
But
Northern
there are a few dinosaurs left. They're in the House of Lords.
So, what I'm trying to get at is, we need more people coming down here, Speaker's Corner, and start talking about this. Unfortunately, certain areas of media, certain
I
groups and
don't think much of him
individuals twist
anyway.
it.
He's
That it's
only
all a
70,000
conspiracy,
and
it's
he's on
climate change,
LBC.
everything. It's real. I've just come back from visiting family in South Africa for 4 weeks. The winelands down there are in massive trouble. And I said to my family down there, there's no insects. You know, you see bushes are here.
Don't smell anymore.
They don't know.
Boy in Leicester, you can smell the
And I said, where's the insects gone?
That's
I
your
said,
nose
"The wine
going."
grows." Because of years and years of spraying insecticides.
Roundup.
COVID's a
Yeah,
fake
and they're,
disease.
and they're
Wake
trying
up.
to they're trying to get beehives running again.
Roundup's
They're all
an
collapsing.
insecticide.
And what's happening now? The northern areas in
Roundup,
Africa,
yeah. I
are
still didn't realise that.
coming down south
Sorry,
as well as north.
agree there.
north
Yeah.
I agree with
to
it.
try and get
Other
work. And their
interpretation.
crops are fading.
Shite.
And what's happening now is you're getting wars in the community. People are getting murdered by the dozen every single day in South Africa because of climate change.
Steve, I'll tell you something. And I thought I would come here today with you being up there and I could heckle you, but I can't because I'm going to agree with you, okay? The issue is I spent about 5-6 years ago, I went to the Maldives and I went 2 or 3 years to this specific island on the Maldives and that island has now sunk.
But how high was that?
And over the years, every year we went, the beach that we used to stand on, there was less beach, the water was coming up.
Yeah.
And now they've had to remove the resort and the island has sunk.
But isn't it the lowest? Isn't it the lowest
and
living land
round
anyway?
the corner to this island is what they call Rubbish Island. And you've never seen anything like it. They're burning rubbish on these islands in this paradise
That's
area.
it. Just to finalise,
So I do get-
I'm waffling on here.
No, you're not. You're doing brilliantly.
Well, you're going a bit
Brilliant.
XR-y. You're going a bit
What's the
XR-y.
most precious resource we have on the planet, which is... What's the most precious resource we have? Water. We've virtually... South East of England, a good friend of mine, she works in one of the main 3 water companies. South East England, yesterday, have now declared the South East aquifers are empty. We have run out of water.
No, we haven't.
We have run out of fresh water.
go to
Once those
Tesco's.
aquifers drain, they
That was
don't fill
Norman
up.
Lamont that, under Thatcher that privatised water. He works for the Jews Rothschild.
Oh, come on.
As we got an energy crisis, they're all coming out now about let's get some fracking because we've got all the gas and everything underneath our feet. How much water do you think you need for one well to frack with? One well. Any idea? This is what they don't tell you. One well is the same daily water supply of the whole of New York State. One well.
Wow.
And once that water has been used, because they millions and millions of gallons, and they say it's mixed with sand to blast it through. No, it's mixed with lots of carcinogenic chemicals called slick fluid, so it gets into the crack in the fissures to pull out the gas. Once that water's pulled out, you cannot recycle it again.
Yeah.
That's it, it's gone. So then they inject it back underneath the ground, 2,000 kilometres down under the ground where it's below the aquifers, seal up the casing, and it's sitting there, it stays.
Tell us more how climate change
Right,
is
one
causing
second,
cancer.
one
nah.
second, here comes
Enough of
the
that.
clincher. There comes the
Enough of this.
clincher.
That's what he said.
What happens to the concrete casings as concrete deteriorates over time, and that concrete and all that water and stuff gets seeped into the aquifers. Now it's only now in the United States this problem's starting to rise, because once that fluid gets into the aquifer water supply, that's it.
Turns the frog's gate.
That's it. Your water is gone.
Yes, it's not a good day, is it?
The company that
Yep.
Quadrilla, British company, only owns 8% of the shares. It's an Australian company, so we ain't going to see a bit of money if they did it. All goes back to Australia, into their coffers. And look what they've done to their country.
The rich getting richer.
So we should have carried on hanging them instead of transporting them.
But hey, we've got
But
the
there
tree still.
I am, because I'm waffling on about my truth. Yeah.
But your truth is brilliant, and thank you.
What a nice guy.
Wonderful to be here. Long live Speakers Corner. But
Yeah.
as I said, it's all down to everybody here to carry on
Yeah.
speaking their truth, and most important, listening whilst heckling. Love you lots.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you, Steve. We miss you.
So